They assemble at night, each one having prepared as diligently as possible for the time given to them before the witching hour, the hour of reckoning, the time when they begin outdoor cartoon television. Stray Casts is on the air.
Fish it out.
Wednesday night, bass fishing madness. We're going to make history tonight here on Stray Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television. I'm Pat Renwick. Today, we have the history makers right here live on the Stray Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television show. Coming up first with the old 1-2. What are you doing? The old 1-2 punchers. First up on the list, we have Brian Thrift coming on.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. Yeah. That's how we do it at Ashley Schaefer. Right there. And then this guy, FLW Tour history maker. The dude who is on a roll. Momentum is everything. We are super proud, super stoked to have Mark Rose coming on the show. Yeah. He's calling us up. Mark Rose, give us an exclusive interview.
Taking a break from church for us.
He is, and we're honored for that. We are absolutely honored for that. This guy right here with the cool microphone buffalo stance.
I wasn't really sure what to do with my hands.
That's just weird.
Is it? What about if I hold it like with two hands?
Then you look like you're Eddie Vedder with a beard.
Oh, I'm putting it back.
Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ryan Popcorn Whitaker right here. Ryan Popcorn. Pow chow. Thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. This guy over here returning from hiatus in the desert. He played strange games with the women of the island or something like that. It's this guy right here, J.P. Hi.
That was a high five.
That was a high five from a guy named Hi. His name really is Hi. We don't make that up. It's spelled Heklzpd, but his name is Hi. Yes. That's him right here. Yep. Hey, lots of great stuff happening. It's cool. I always get hyped up on a Wednesday night. The excitement is always in the air when we get to talk bass fishing with the best bass fishermen in the nation. And the planet, in the galaxy, every Wednesday night here on StrayCast.net and the StrayCast Facebook page. You know what, Ryan, you got something going on. You and Ralphie Rockin' Crocs Steiger coming up. For those of you watching in the local Midwest area here, Hammond, Indiana, Chicagoland area, there's a big seminar about to happen. When is that coming up, Ryan?
Yeah, we've got, there we go. We've got a.
It helps when you turn your mic on.
We're going to be giving a Lake Michigan seminar. Ralph is doing salmon, trout, everything trouts, salmon and whatnot, trolling in the morning. And in the afternoon, we're going to do a smallmouth seminar, specifically smallmouth. It is March 4th at the Hammond.
It's somewhere. Where do they go to find out about it? What's the website?
You can go to Captain Ralph Steiger.
So like to his house?
Yeah, you can go to his house.
And just tell Jen that Ralphie sent you?
There is a Learn Lake Michigan Facebook page, learnlakemichigan.com at Facebook. Check it out there. There's still some space left. We're going to be doing lunch, dinner, breakfast, giving away some stuff. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to go get some donuts.
You are going to get some
That's
donuts.
what I'm going to
Hey, what's for lunch?
Beef.
I'm not sure yet.
It's
gonna
beef
be
and
good,
sausage. It's Chicago.
Last year it was
we gotta have
some
sausage.
big, heavy pastas.
That is an amazing mustache, JP.
Thank you.
It's very Ditka-esque back in the day.
I'm working on it.
That's pretty good.
Comes with age.
Hey, big show.
Ron Swanson.
Brian Thrift coming up next, and then Mark Rose. Don't go anywhere. Put those power poles down. When we get back, the ceremony is about to begin.
Swim jig technique is one of the most successful ways to put fish in the boat. Time in and time out, Brovani Baits swim jigs are just the right tool for the job. Beaming with quality, the Brovani swim jigs come in a myriad of colors, feature the best premium hooks and solid trailer keepers to give you, the serious bass angler, the confidence you need to accomplish your goal of putting more fish in the boat. So go to BrovaniBaits.com and start climbing the ladder to swim jig success.
Slayer Reel Tuning is Chicagoland's #1 reel tuning expert. Whether you need your reel tuned up, souped up, or basic maintenance, Ben Botcher, the Reel Slayer from SlayerReelTuning.com, has your reel needs covered. Ben is the official reel tuner of Stray Casts, and he can customize your reel to your exact specifications, like new ball bearings, drag washers, clean reels, and the latest and greatest handles. When it comes to reels, go to the best and contact Ben, the Reel Slayer, and get your reel tuned to perfection and back in no time. Go to the website, SlayerReelTuning.com. That's SlayerReelTuning.com.
Stank's Bait Company has been hand pouring and injecting soft plastic baits since 2009. Each bait is hand poured with you in mind, and each bait is injected with fish catching juice. They've got over 20 baits to choose from. And Stank's Bait gives you unparalleled custom colors, and they'll match the hatch of your local lake forage. Plus, they feature soft plastic custom airbrushing, and now they offer their services to you and your soft baits. So pretty you'll want to frame it. But don't, because the fish aren't going to see it on your wall, and they're not going to smell it till you get it in the water. You can find them online at stanksbaitco.com or at Tackle Warehouse, Fisherman's Central, Sportsman's Direct, and DNR Sports. Stank's Baits. Get them.
How did you change your body? I mean, like just really working out?
Mm-hmm.
Could you
I
take...
did martial arts a lot and full contact karate and weights. And
Could anybody do that? Could you take these two here?
come on, say what you really think, huh?
Could you change anybody's body with enough time? Seriously.
Sure, yeah, definitely. Yeah. It just takes determination, hard work, and an instructor.
Welcome back, Stray Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television. We're sorry for the delay. Is everybody ready? We're ready. There's a little bit of problem with the Skype machine, but we are honored right now to have on the Google phone, ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you Brian Thrift. Woo! Yeah.
What's up, guys?
What's going on, Brian?
Oh, nothing. Just relaxing for 2 or 3 days at the house before I head to Florida for 2 weeks.
You forgot your password, Brian.
I forgot everything. Somehow the app got deleted off my phone. I was trying to reload it, and then I forgot my password.
Brian,
did you try Doc Skip 99? That was my guess.
Yeah, Doc Skipper 99. That's your password for everything.
That would probably be a good one.
Hey, man, congratulations, dude. History.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, you're making history. I mean, it's crazy. Back to backs.
Uh,
Are you there, Brian?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Back to back, man. That's absolutely insane. So close twice in a row. What are you feeling about that?
Oh, I'm feeling like those little fish ounces are worth more than gold right now.
I mean, literally, yes, for a pro bass fisherman like you. And we learned from you that those Travis Lake bass were liars too, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Tell us why you say that.
Probably the biggest reason was the fourth day of the tournament. It was hot and buggy that morning, and I'm thinking, I need to tie a buzzbait on. So I tied a buzzbait on, and like the fifth cast I made with it, I caught a good keeper. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if they're going to bite this thing, I could have a chance at a huge bag today. So I throw it for 3 more hours and never get another bite on it.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, and the same kind of deal happened to you in practice too, didn't it?
Yeah, in practice, I caught a great big one on a jerk bait and never got another bite on it for 3 days of practice.
They are. You got to listen to the fish, I guess, but not that closely. That's what we're learning here. They got minds.
Yeah,
of their own.
That's pretty much what you're learning.
But I mean, dude, stellar performance on Travis. I mean, almost. I hate to say almost, but still accolades are in order here. It's outstanding. Tell us about that first day. We saw you just absolutely knock the tar out of them on that first day.
Yeah, that first day was one of those dream days you hope to have sometime in your career. Just one of those days where you can do absolutely no wrong. Like, I'm pretty sure if I would have fell in the lake, a school of 10 powders would have came up under me and thrown me back in the boat. It was just one of those phenomenal days where everything goes right. And you get a lot of big bites and land them all, land some you shouldn't. And it actually started out with a shaky head. I mean, everybody couldn't believe that, but I mean, that little Demiki finesse Mickey worm on a shaky head, I've caught a lot of big fish on it over the years, especially in the situation we had that first day of the tournament where it was just slick and sunny, no wind. I mean, just the worst conditions that you could have for a pre-spawn type event. And they just, that's the only thing I could get them to react to, downsized to 8-pound line and that small finesse Mickey worm.
Yeah, and you hate those fairy wands. I mean, last time you told us you don't like fishing with those.
I don't enjoy it per se. I mean, it's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm also the type of guy that I'm up for whatever gets me paid.
Yeah. I mean, you enjoyed the 24-pound bag that came out of it,
Exactly. Like, I mean, I don't particularly mind how I have to catch them as long as it'll catch them.
How'd you feel that first day when you rolled up on your spot and you had company?
Oh, I didn't mind at all because in reality, I didn't know it was that good.
Hey, Brian.
I mean, that's the honest truth of the fact. I went in there because I'd caught a couple keepers there in practice. I mean, they were small, and I had no expectations of catching 24 pounds off of it.
I mean, we won't name any names, but the other guy, Scott Martin, he wasn't catching nothing in there, and you were just wrecking them.
Yeah, there for a little bit, I was catching them pretty hot and heavy, and but I mean, he kept his head cool, and man, he finally caught them, and he ended up having a good tournament. I think he ended up in the top 30 or so and finished like 25th or something.
Yeah, he did. He definitely, we're giving Scott a hard time, but he definitely did. He did pull it out. That's for sure. Dude.
Hey, speaking of having company, I heard something in your interview, or I read something where you were talking about how on the first and second day you had there was boats on everything, And then after that, when the field got cut down, you had more to fish. Now, did you plan for that? Did you plan to fish certain spots on the first 2 days and then save some for when you'd be able to fish them the third and fourth day?
Not really. I mean, it's just one of those deals where that time of year when you've got pre-spawn fish, I mean, they set up on the obvious structure. I mean, if there's a good-looking bush on a point or something like that, or a stretch of rock bank that looks good, I mean, during the first 2 days when you've got a full field, I mean, there's going to be a boat on that stuff.
Right.
And you're probably fishing behind somebody unless you start on it. So when they cut the field down to 20, I mean, you pretty much, there's a good chance you're making the first cast to that structure.
Right.
And so it kind of leaves a little element of surprise because
Nice.
you don't know what fish have moved up there overnight and haven't been pestered yet.
So the lake basically doubles in size for you after that.
Exactly.
And day 3 and 4, you kind of got the fish thrift style, didn't you? I mean, that was kind of
that's when I get to kind of run around a little more. Like like you were saying earlier, it just frees up a little more water, and you can run and hit specific targets like a bush on a point or that good-looking stretch of bank or something like that.
But you got to go dock fishing a little bit on days 3 and 4.
Yeah, I fished a lot more docks the third and fourth day, just hoping that, in practice we had 3 cloudy days. It was windy and cloudy, just kind of dreary, And then the first day of the tournament was the first day we got any sun. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking, if we get 2 or 3 days of sunshine, it might put these fish under the docks. And it did put some under there. I ended up catching that big one the third and fourth day out from under a dock.
On these 2 derbies, the Travis and Guntersville, was there a time in your mind when you were like, I think I got this, or were you never certain?
I never was certain. I was probably thinking more like I had a chance at Guntersville than I was at Travis, because I knew the guy. I figured at Travis somebody would catch a big bag that last day, a 17, 18-pound bag, and win the thing. And I felt like I needed one more bite all day there. And at Guntersville, I had a big bag, and I felt like I'd give myself the best chance I could there.
I thought, no offense, but I thought Clark Wendlandt was going to win this going into it.
I did too, because going into that last day, we had that major weather change with the front coming in, and I figured that would set right in his wheelhouse for being able to run a reaction-type pattern that last day.
You know who wasn't going to win it, because he told us last week, was Alex Davis.
Alex Davis.
But did you know that you are
right.
You are Alex Davis's hero? He told us that last week on this show. True story. You are his hero.
I don't know.
He's got one of those, what do they call those things you put on the wall? Fat heads?
Yeah, fat head.
He's got a Brian Thrift fat head in his tournament tackle garage.
Oh, I want that too.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
Hey, Brian, you played this on kind of on both sides of the fence. Where you were in the lead on the final day, and then you were in second on the final day. Where would you rather be in a tournament? Would you rather be in second or first going into the fourth day?
Oh, I'd rather be in first every day. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. So if you go out in the lead, if something crazy happens, you still win.
That is a good philosophy.
Right.
It's called thrift logic. That's what we call it.
Hey, Brian, we got a viewer question. From Mike Ellis. He's wondering about days 1 and 2. Did it kill you not to fish thrift style run and gun?
No, not really, because my practice, like I said earlier, it was kind of tough. I mean, I've never caught the quality fish that I felt like I had a chance to win, and so I just had to kind of make what I had found work. So I mean, I didn't really know enough about the lake yet to be able to run around and gun like that.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, and so you dance with who brung you, like we always say.
You dance with who
you always got to dance with who brung you, Brian Thrift. There's no doubt about it.
That's it.
Hey, let's talk Guntersville. Let's talk Guntersville a little bit, because that was a cool derby. I mean, I know it might not have been that cool for you guys. Well, it's cool because you had a really good derby. I mean, you almost had what, 80 pounds or something? 79 pounds or something? That's pretty good. And everybody said Guntersville was off, but we all know every time somebody's going to whack them. There's no doubt. Now,
Oh yeah.
was that kind of like was that a spot specific deal for you?
Yeah, it really wasn't a spot specific deal as much as it was an area specific, and a couple of spots within an area was kind of what I had going at Guntersville.
So it's the magic within the magic.
Yes, exactly.
It's the Brian Thrift magic within the magic. That's what I'm gonna well verse you in the art of hyping.
It was the rabbit inside the hat.
Yeah, it's a double entendre of bass fishing right there.
Kind of like turducken. Yeah.
So what were you doing? What were the baits you were throwing there at Guntersville? Because I know it fit your style.
The first 2 days, the Demiki trimmer kind of did most of the work. I caught most of my keepers on it, and then the second afternoon, I'd say, of the tournament is when I kind of found the spot on the spot, and I actually caught them there cranking, and that's what I did pretty much the third and fourth day.
Nice. What were you cranking?
Just a square bill crankbait. I mean, just something that run like 5-6 foot deep.
Just a standard old square bill.
Yep.
Were you throwing a plastic one or a wood one?
No, it was a plastic one.
It was a plastic one? Nice. You don't want to tell us what it was?
No, I'd rather not.
Okay. Did you get the fix?
We'll just say it's no longer in production.
No longer. I like that. I like that. And no longer in production. That means it's a Rick Clunn Lucky Craft. That's what I'm guessing. It's a Rick Clunn.
Do what?
I'm guessing it's a Rick Clunn Lucky Craft crankbait then. That's my guess. But
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong.
His voice kind of went up there.
Yeah,
Did you hear that?
It did. We caught him. We caught him on the bass detector test. Hey, so
There you go.
you got to stick a few on that jig too at Guntersville, didn't you?
Yeah, I caught some on a jig and caught some on a jerkbait also. But most, I don't know. I think I weighed one in on the jerkbait, and I don't think I ever weighed one in on a jig though.
No, but you caught a few. It was a tournament.
Yeah,
It was a tournament of perseverance, right? I mean, you did end up with good bags of fish, but it was a grind, wasn't it, Brian?
It was until that second afternoon when I found the little spot on the spot. That really helped me a lot, because the third and fourth day is like I would have a limit in the first hour, pretty quickly. And usually I would catch 3 or 4 in the first 10 minutes. So that kind of calms you down.
Sure.
And lets you have a little freedom to know that, hey, I've got 7.5 hours to get one more bite.
How many
fish in
fish?
the boats were 2 in the bush.
Yeah, it sure is. How many fish a day were you catching?
At Guntersville, I probably average 7-8 keepers a day, maybe.
Gotcha.
So not a terrible lot.
Yeah,
the fourth day was actually a lot better. They get better that day for some reason. I probably went through 10 or 12 keepers that fourth day of the event.
And that's still a grind, man. I mean, people have a misconception that in professional bass fishing, you guys are just going out there and wrecking them and culling through fish. But that's not always the case. I mean, you're talking an 8-hour day, and ultimately you're going for the 5 best bites for those that don't realize. But yeah, 7-8 fish, that's not a lot of bass in a day. Sometimes if I come home fishing after only catching 7 or 8 fish, I sometimes feel a little disappointed. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but it's kind of different when you're fishing in a tournament scenario. I mean, if you get 1 bite an hour, that's not a bad day. I mean, you're talking about 8 or 9 bites a day. And usually when you're in a tournament, especially on a tournament like Lake Guntersville, I mean, there's probably things you could do to get more bites, but it's not going to produce the quality you need. So, I mean, if you got 20 bites a day and 18 of them are 12 inches, that's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, it's not going to do you any good. It's not just some long-haired dude like me going out there winding a square bill and flipping a jig and not caring what he catches. It's a little different than when you're fishing for $125,000, isn't it?
Right. You got to at least you got to trick yourself into feeling like you're at least fishing for 5 big ones.
Yes, that's what I'm going to try next time. I'm going to try that next time.
Just always tell yourself that.
Hey, we want to remind all you viewers.
It's all mental games. All mental games.
It's a big mental game. We want to remind all you viewers that we are taking questions for Brian Thrift. If you have them, you could field them to the Facebook Live page. If you have questions for Brian Thrift, you let us know. Hey, Brian, are you superstitious?
No, not very much at all.
No, not at all.
It's just a little stitious.
Yeah. Nothing, huh? You have nothing that you abide by that's worked for you that you have to do.
No rituals or nothing like that.
That's outstanding. Most fishermen I know are very superstitious. Like, for example, even if I'm not going to eat them, I always have to have cinnamon Pop-Tarts in the glove box of my boat. Because if I don't, I will not catch anything. I just won't catch them. There's certain fishermen that wear their lucky hat, as simple as a lucky hat that they have to have.
All right, that falls back on what I said earlier. It's all mind games.
It's all mind games. You should write a book called Brian Thrift Mind Games. You and Chris Angel, the magician, and Brian Thrift. It's called Bass and Mind Games.
Lord.
Yeah, that would be outstanding. Hey, what do you think of FLW Live?
Oh, I love it. Everybody I've talked to that watched it said it was an awesome deal.
Yeah, I mean it's we've seen it on the Bassmaster Live. We've been seeing that for a little bit, and I'm glad to see that now we're going to get to know you FLW Tour pros a little more. You're on the water shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome because you see stuff that on a normal production wouldn't be shown. Like we was talking about earlier with such few bites. I mean, you see the guys out there mentally struggling, fishing the hours without a bite, and then all of a sudden they get that one bite, and it's a giant. It just changes the whole demeanor of the day. It's like all of a sudden, we're back in this thing, and it allows everybody to see all that.
Are you excited to kind of spy on your competitors?
Do what?
Are you excited to kind of get to see and spy on your competitors? Like
what they're doing?
No, I mean, that doesn't really bother me. I mean, there are, little secrets that guys have that I'm sure they don't want everybody to know, but, that's part of it. I mean, that's going to help grow the sport hugely.
Yeah, that's the stuff we want to know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're going to see. And we see the little tweaks and the subtle changes these guys are doing to the baits, and there's no hiding it now.
Plus, it makes us feel better anytime you guys get a backlash or a snag. I'm like, I do that too.
Yeah, that happens
awesome.
to them too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you get to see all that.
Hey, do you have 2 boats?
I have 2 right now. One of them will be sold fairly shortly.
Oh, I thought you had it was like a home jersey and an away jersey kind of boat.
No, I wish I could afford that.
So one of them's up for grabs right now, and one's on the market.
Well, no, it's not on the market yet. It'll be on the market after these next 2 tournaments.
Gotcha.
The one I just picked it up yesterday, and I've still got to rig some graphs on it and stuff and get it tournament ready. I can't go without making sure it's proven.
Right. Exactly. So what are you doing? You got, a week off now before you guys go to, where are you going, Harris Chain next?
Yeah, well, I'm actually leaving Saturday to fish the Costa tournament down at Lake Seminole.
Okay.
And then I'll go straight from it to the Harris Chain.
It's a pregame show then for you.
No, the Costa Series it's a big deal. It pays $100,000 to win.
Oh, absolutely. What I'm saying, and I'm not undermining that at all. What I'm saying is it's going to give you a little bit of Florida fishing before you get into the FLW Derby.
Oh yeah, that is definitely true. I mean, I'll be able to see Seminole is about 4 hours north of the Harris Chain, but I would like to think that. I don't know that they'll fish similar, but the fish should be in similar stages. Like if there's fish on the bed at Seminole, I would think Harris Chain would be similar.
Yeah, you'd think those Florida bass are goofy. You know that.
They are goofy, I'm telling you.
They're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. Hey, Brian, what do you think the greatest invention in shallow water angling has been in the past 10 years? The greatest invention for shallow water angling in the last 10 years?
Definitely a power pole.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it revolutionizes, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, like I remember when I first started seeing them, and I was like, man, I don't know if I need that, and then I finally got to and got two of them on my boats, you know, and dude, it was eye opening, and the uses. Like I would always talk to myself, oh, you would never use it unless you were bed fishing or something like that, but I mean, I use them countless times every day I'm on the water. I mean, even if you're on a shallow bank and the wind's blowing and you have to retie or rig another bait, you don't want the wind to blow you up on the bank or blow you past some structure. You put the poles down and stay right there until you get what you're working on done, and then you're ready to go.
And you kind of hit the point on the head right there, too. It's an excellent form of time management, too. I mean, you're
yes,
not
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of overlooked elements about it. Hey, we gotta play a game with you. It wouldn't be normal if we didn't play some games with Brian Thrift. You want to goof off?
Yeah, we might as well. I guess.
We might as well, right? Let's play a little What's on Your Mind, okay?
All right.
Let's a little What's on Your Mind with Brian Thrift. Hey, everybody, I'm your host, Pat Renwick. FLW Tour Pro Bryan Thrift is going to tell us what's on his mind. Brian, I'm going to give you some words or phrases, and you tell me the first thing that pops into your brain. The first one is communication breakdown. Communication breakdown.
Oh, doing what my wife tells me. How about that?
That's good. FLW poster child. FLW poster child.
FLW poster child. I got to go with Mark Rose.
Mark Rose right now, knocking it out, making history, no doubt. Overachiever. Overachiever.
Overachiever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm drawing a blank.
Overachiever. Well, maybe Mark Rose is an overachiever, too.
Yeah.
2 derbies in a row.
Yeah, we'll go with Rose on that one also.
Music to your ears. Music to your ears.
I'm going with last Thursday at Travis. Every time I set the hook, that spinning reel zing and drag.
Nice. That is it right there. Stabilizer. Stabilizer.
Stabilizer?
Yeah, stabilizer.
Drawing a blank on that one also.
I'm thinking of that TH Marine thing that keeps your trolling motor. That's where my brain was. I don't know why that popped in, but that's,
that is pretty good.
Yeah, that's what was happening with me.
Power poles.
Yeah, there's the power poles too. There you go.
Yeah, order the power pole. Order the power pole.
Aaron Martins. Aaron Martins.
Oh, I don't really know on that either.
He's your second place Eskimo brother. That's who he is.
Oh, that is true.
That's your buddy.
Are we tied on seconds now?
I think he's got you beat. Definitely, he's got you beat on that. Last one, Dancing Eel. Dancing Eel.
Dances eel.
Dancing Eel.
I've never had one. First thing that comes to my mind.
They catch fish. You know what I'm talking about, right? That old bait that Bill Dance.
Oh yeah, the little crankbait with the eel tail on it.
Yeah,
the tadpole.
They work best in eel grass. You know that, right?
I did not know that.
I just made it up, right?
They're good on eel pout as well.
Hey, who do you think that you have influenced as a bass fishing professional? I mean, I know a lot of people have influenced you, but who have you influenced?
I don't know. I mean, I hope some of the maybe high school or college anglers that I've spoke to and stuff like that. I mean, that would be my hope.
Yeah, and I think that definitely has come to fruition because we've had the privilege of hearing some of your Bass University seminars, and then of course you coming on this show, man. You know how to lay it out there, Brian Thrift. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes I get a little tough here and there.
Hey, we got a viewer question.
Viewer question for Brian Thrift.
This one's from Kevin.
Kevin,
what lake/area FLW hasn't been to would you like to see added to next year's schedule?
What was the question? I couldn't hear.
What lake or area that FLW has not fished would you like to see added to next year's schedule?
I don't know. I mean, we travel to a lot of different areas. I think maybe not a particular area, but maybe a smaller type venue for the championship, where a lake that's maybe not big enough to host a full field event, but somewhere that's like a phenomenal little unheard of fishery that would be awesome for a championship with 50 boats.
A slugfest.
Like the Lansing Country Club.
Yeah, slugfest. Just a slugfest. You should go to Cuba.
Yeah.
Go to Cuba. There's huge bass in Cuba. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
That is true. Brian, are you ever going to fish the elites?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say never, but because I don't know how things are going to work in the future or anywhere down the road. But I mean, I love fishing FLW. I mean, I'm happy right where I'm at. They've got a great tournament organization, and I mean, I have no intentions of leaving in the near future at all.
And you're making a lot of money there, and that's great.
Yeah, you got to dance with who brung you.
Yeah, and I mean that's where I started my career. I mean, FLW's done a lot for me, and I mean they've kind of essentially given me the platform to be where I'm at today. You know, I started out through the BFLs and then fished the Costa Series and got on the tour. You know, I mean, they've got a great stepping stone. I mean, my only wish is that back when I was in high school and college, you know, there were high school and college events like there are now.
That had kept us out of trouble, right?
Do what?
I said that would have kept us out of trouble, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I spent most of my college days fishing, anyways.
Right?
But I would at least had some structure to it.
Yeah, you could have got some good grades. You know, we'd excelled at something if they had that when I was in college. I know that.
We had a lot more people to travel with.
No doubt. Hey, Brian, any parting words to your sponsors, your fans before we head out? And we got Mark Rose coming up next. If you want to say something to him, let us know.
I just want to congratulate him on a job well done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing to win two back to back. But yeah, I definitely like to thank my sponsors. I mean, they really come through for me in every tournament as far as Demeke and Fitzgerald rods and T-line. I mean, Demeke baits on a Fitzgerald rod with T-line line, you can't go wrong with that in any situation. I don't know. There's a video the third day of me dragging a 5-pounder over a dock cable with 15-pound T-line.
It was awesome.
I mean, it's just, fish like that you normally won't land. And I've got the utmost confidence in my equipment that I have no second thoughts about throwing over stuff that you normally wouldn't throw over. And then, of course, Sportsman's Warehouse, they're one of my biggest sponsors, and you can find all that equipment there at sportsmanswarehouse.com, and they'll take care of you and get you fixed up with what you need.
Awesome. Brian, again, congratulations on 2 outstanding derbies in a row, and we hope it carries out to the Harris chain for you at the next stop.
Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate it and look forward to being back on. Maybe we can get the Skype thing working next time.
Yeah, and thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you taking time out, and you're 2 times now. The leaders we got. What you got to catch up to Watson. He's got 3 times on, and Brandon Palaniuk is 3 times on. So we got to.
Oh goodness.
Good luck is coming.
Yeah, and
Hey, well, I think one of Watson's counts is like the first time I was on with you, Watson. He kind of jumped in with us. So that counts as 2.
Yeah, he tonight showed you. He totally did. He made a special guest appearance. There's no doubt about that. And remember what we told you when you were on. Good luck comes to those who come on Straight Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television, and it sure showed in the first 2 derbies. We're going to take full credit for that, you know.
And remember, Doc Skip 99. You won't forget that.
That's your password. Brian,
use that one.
Thanks, man. Knock him out, and safe travels, dude.
Thank you, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That's Bryan Thrift right there, FLW Touring Pro. Don't you go nowhere. When we get back, it's the history maker, Mark Rose, right here on Straight Cast. Put the power poles down. We're coming back at you live.
Regis Outdoors is quickly becoming the industry leader in tournament fishing apparel. There's no better way to represent your sponsors than with a Regis jersey. At Regis, you can get a short sleeve, long sleeve, sweatpants, the best prices in the industry. Regis also offers club and team discounts, special high school and college prices. Our website is easy to navigate, and Regis' staff will make the process quick and easy for you. Regis Outdoors, offering high-quality tournament apparel for the weekend angler. Outfit yourself from head to toe. Check out Regis online at www.regis.com.
I'm John DeMay with M Jigs. Today, I'd like to share with you a little bit about a couple products that we have in our lineup that we're really excited about. The first product I'd like to talk to you about today is the Joe Football Head Jig. Right out of the package, you'll notice that our football head jig is different than most on the market. What makes our jigs different is the quality of components. Let's start with the hook. These hooks are custom made for us in Japan. 90-degree bend, black nickel hooks, razor sharp, JDM quality. All of our Joe Football Head jigs have living rubber skirts. They're hand tied with copper wire to ensure that they stay affixed, and it also helps them to flare while they're in the water. We powder paint and heat cure each jig to ensure that the paint stays on your jig even when you're fishing rock. Another feature that separates our jig from other jigs on the market is the screw lock keeper. The screw lock keeper does a couple things for you. Not only does it keep your bait affixed, it'll save you money on soft plastics that pull off of standard barb keepers. The second product I'd like to talk to you about is our hybrid flip and swim jig. We also have a custom hook in our flip and swim jig. It's a 4/0 30-degree bend black nickel hook. It has the same durable paint, the same great keeper, and a hand-tied silicone skirt to complete it. So if you're looking for a premium product that's going to give you an edge over your competition, look us up at demjigs.com.
Quality, dependability, consistency, and fish-catching performance is what separates a War Eagle spinnerbait from the pack. Hand-assembled, inspected, and tested in Rogers, Arkansas, War Eagle lures are the choice of Mike McClellan, Andy Morgan, Edwin Evers, and you, the serious bass angler. War Eagle lures, when you absolutely have to catch fish. Find War Eagle lures at your local tackle store or visit wareaglelures.com today. Welcome back, Stray Cast Outdoor Cartoon Television. I'm Pat Renwick. This is Ryan Whitaker.
Hi.
And JP High right over there. We're pretty honored right now to have a history maker amongst us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the one, the only, Mark Rose. Yeah. All right, Mark Rose.
Guys,
What's going on, Mark?
I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
A
blessing.
Are you still catching your breath, Mark?
Yeah, it was. I tell you, I still have an overwhelming sense of just being thankful. I tell you that. It was a cool experience, and I tell you what, it's not so much. Everybody keeps asking, can you believe you won 2 tournaments in a row? I can believe that part. What I can't believe is the way it went down against the same person, and within a pound separated both events. I mean, you can't script that if you try it. That's the part that's more interesting than anything. yeah, it's kind of mind blowing.
It sure is. It's history. It is definitely history. I mean, and the fact that there's, like you just said, that you and Thrift back to back within a pound. I don't think that has ever happened in professional bass fishing, whether it's been FLW or whether it's been BASS. I don't think that's ever happened before. Do you know if it has?
No. It can't.
Yeah.
that just you can't have odds like that and scenario like that. It just the odds are against it. So no, it's been fun. It's been I sat on a deer stand this winter a lot, and I thought about, man, just get off to a good start, and I felt good going into this season. I really did. I just something felt right going into it. I don't know if it's just a lot of years of experience and just finally feel comfortable at the start of one season or what, but everything just felt right going into this year. It's just fun to be fishing good and reading the water good, and it was a good hunting season this winter, and it was a good crappie fishing winter, and it already started off to be a good fishing season.
Mark, I gotta ask you, did you and Thrift run into each other at all on the water? Were you guys even fishing similar areas, or was it just you guys were both on a good thing?
It's funny. One of the areas that I had like 6 offshore places, and I only had 2 that were, I would consider, mid-lake or up in the early stages of the river, part of the river. And one of them I stopped on coming back in and that first day, and Brian and Scott Martin were near. They weren't fishing the spot that I was. It was a totally different group of fish, but it was in the same general bay. It was a big spawning bay, and I had found a little ridge, a sharp drop off on the main river side of this big point leading into a bay. And it was just a little real steep drop over there, a little small cut in the river channel, and then after that cut, it turned into a big, huge point, which was a really good, staging area in and all around it. There was wood all around it, and I had seen that it was good on both sides, but I actually liked the spot that I was fishing better than where they were fishing.
Nice,
but they're the ones that caught all the fish on that side. So evidently, I didn't realize how good it was over there where they were. But I got to fish it both times that I came by it, and I went and hit it 3 out of the 4 days that I fished, and I caught key fish there every time I went.
Yeah,
so that was the only time really I ran into him, to answer your question.
So those guys were up in the infield, and you were out there playing center field, like you were at Arkansas State.
Yeah, I was really on that lower end, which is where I really put most of my emphasis the last 3 days. I was in a place where I didn't run into anybody. I was a lone ranger down there in that area. And there's been a couple of times in my career where I have found offshore fish, really deep fish, and nobody else was around. And when that happens, it's you got something special. But to be honest with you, I didn't find the actual spot where I caught my 3 biggest ones until the late in the second day of the tournament. But I had some stuff in the general area, some deep stair-stepping ledges that was real close, and then I went and checked it that second day late, and I caught one good one out there on the end of that boat ramp, which is an area I fished back in 2007, and it had some good stuff out there on the edges of it and on the end of it. And I went and hit it and caught one that day. I caught a really big one the third day, and then I caught those 2 the last day. off of it.
Nice. And the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
The rest is history. Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about Guntersville. Let's jump back in the songbook for a minute for the first Derby of the year. And I loved that Guntersville tournament. I loved watching it. What I saw of it, the footage was outstanding, and I love a cranking tournament. I love it. I just love watching it.
Yeah.
And you were fishing a pretty much a textbook cold water type bait. You were cranking that flat side, and that's a pretty special little flat side you had there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I wish Strike King would have held on to that little. It was a part of they had a custom line several years ago, and that little flat side was made over the guy over in East Tennessee or somewhere over in that area, and something happened and that fell through, and the custom part or lineup went away. But I've got like 12 or 15 of them. I've actually got a few more than that because I got some in my box, about 7 or 8, and then I've got 12 or 15 on the wall. So I've got a good stash of them.
You got them stashed.
It's just an excellent little cold water bait, and I found 3 or 4 little areas, just little shallow staging areas. A couple of them were on the inside of a grass line, and then 2 of them were on little rocky points, which were also on the inside of grass lines. And I utilized those and 2 other deeper inside grass lines that I would fish a vibrating jig on and a swim jig, and then the causeway up there, which is what I was cranking also.
And
so,
you use the flat side bait. Have you ever used the other Strike King custom crankbait that they had, the Shad Wrap style one? Do you have any of those?
Yes. Yes, Stealth Shad.
Yeah. Those are outstanding also.
Yeah, it was a good little bait. Looked a lot like about a number 8 or 7 Shad Wrap.
Yep.
Both of them were really good cold water baits. I like that old Petey style one the best.
Sure. Yeah, it's you, Hackney, Van Dam, all you Strike King guys, you cherish those baits. You guard them with your lives, so they must be good.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to make sure when I got back from that tournament, I walked over there to where they are on a pegboard in my shop, and I just wanted to make sure they were still there. They are. I didn't want anybody to sabotage me while I was gone.
You're checking your treasure right there. You're checking the treasure.
Yeah.
But I mean, what a cool Derby Guntersville was, and again that last minute catch. Wow.
I know. Just stuff like that happens when you're reading the water good and when you're making good decisions. And then there's times whenever I've been on the other end of that, and I feel like no matter where I go, I'm not within a mile of a bass. So it's good whenever everything's flowing right, and you never know how long that'll last. I mean, I could go to the Harris chain and I just, it all go away. The mental fishing is so mental. It was just, I compare it a lot to hitting when, I played college baseball, and it just seemed like there was times, I went through, I did the same drills, had the same mechanics, did all that stuff in hitting all the time. And there were some times whenever that baseball looked like a volleyball coming up there. Yeah. And then there was times when it looked like a golf ball. And so, it just, everything's just flowing right sometimes, and and I couldn't ever understand when I'd get out of it. But something would happen and you would, and I've been there on both ends of that in fishing as well, and it feels good whenever everything's going right.
It sure does. We had a Bass and Wise man on the show a couple months ago, and that Bass and Wise man's name was Jerry McInnes. And Jerry says to us, he said, Pat, everything in life happens for a reason. There are no coincidences. What do you feel about that, Mark Rose?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I compare it more, and I strongly believe it has more to do with, God's plan for our life.
Sure.
But yeah, I strongly feel like that was where, God's blessings met my hard work and opportunity, all collided into one, and it worked out right.
It's the perfect storm.
Hey, Mark, back
Right.
to that final day, that last second catch on Guntersville. I was trying to kind of read your mind there, and I've seen a few other guys do this, but I got to have you tell me if I'm right. I'm watching you catch that fish. You get it in the net. Then you sit down, you got to go and head back. And it seems like all the emotion does not come out until the engine starts. Is that the thought in your head? Like, I'm not going to get excited until the engine starts. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, well, I let out a big old Tarzan yell there.
Nice.
As soon as I put it in the net, I screamed as loud as I could, and man, I think crows came out of the trees there close by. Buzzards started coming out of everywhere. Roosters started crowing. Yeah, I screamed as loud as I could. But you're right. After that engine started and I put it in gear and I knew the prop was going to turn good, all the emotion came out right then.
That was the aftershock.
Yeah. Outstanding. And onto the Travis event, again, you did a little combo platter. It was a little combo platter. It was a little bit of surf and a little bit of turf, a little bit of shallow, a little bit of deep. You mixed it. You mixed it up, and the whole deal. You touched on it a little bit before, but that whole boat ramp deal was pretty special, man. I mean, it evolved. It evolved 40 foot lower, wasn't it, Travis? Like the last time you were there, like 40 foot lower than it is now.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was fishing close on a big point down there, and I had found a little sweet spot on that point. It was a huge point, and I found one little sweet spot that had a school of fish on it, and it was quite a few fish, a lot of small ones. I did weigh in 1 4-pounder off of there, and some other decent sized fish, but it was a lot of small ones there. But anyway, I went over and I just said, I was done with that area pretty quick that second day, and I had caught a couple of nice ones off of my deep point, and I said, I'm just going to go over here while I'm here. I haven't even been to it in practice. And I went over there and just really wanted to just try it, see if there was anything around. I knew it was deep. What I was figuring out on that deep spot that I was fishing was my fish were, as I started fishing the outer skirts of it, I started noticing a lot of fish in that 45 to 55 foot range. And I said, my boat ramp, it will be where I caught my fish before. There were some big, hard boulders out there on the end of it. I said, it's like 40 feet lower, and I was catching them like 8 foot then. So that would be, 48, 50 foot. I said, that might be some there. And I saw one arch down there deep. There was a little tree out off to the side of it. Drug my football jig over it, and I feel like I caught that fish. And it was a nice one, second day. And so came back the third day, and I started there and caught that old biggin. Just fired out there blind, kind of in that same area where that tree was, and I caught like a 6-pounder. And then that was it. But I knew right then that kind of, I've caught 2 fish off of it now, and they're both 4 pounds or better. I said,
something's going on.
The final day, if I could ever get 2 or 3 of them the final day, then it'd be great. And we had a little overcast that final day, which helped. I think it put a couple feeding fish on it early, and sure enough, there was 2 fish suspended in that same general area right there off the side, the kind of the corner of that boat ramp where some timber met that hard stuff, and there was one tree down there that was pretty special, and caught 2 off of it real quick.
Hey, Mark,
and then I kind of hung around there just a little bit longer, And then I went back over closer to my point, and I just started fishing shallow, and I noticed a bush up there, and I just fired my football jig over by that bush, and I was going to swim it by it at first, and I said, no, I'll let it drop down beside it. As soon as it dropped it, my line jumped about a foot. And I said, you know, I remember saying right then, control yourself here, because, you know, I'm from Mississippi River, where you get a jig bite in a willow bush, your both feet come off the ground. But I eased into it, and I was using 15-pound line, and I eased into it, and that decision, you know, just that time. Used to, I'd work on emotions, and I'd have broke that fish off.
You didn't give him the Jim Tut
into it, and I caught it. Yeah.
Mark, while you're talking electronics here, you're known to be one of the experts on reading your electronics. Now, to someone like me who rarely fishes deep enough to warrant even turning them on, are you actually looking at your graph and you can tell the difference between a bass and, say, a carp? I mean, teach me, or a striper? Yeah, teach me how to find a bass on my electronics.
No, I can't. And if anybody tells you they can, I'd love to question that. Because no, you can't. I mean, you can't. But you can make good conscious guesses where you feel like bass ought to be, and you think that if you see them set up in the way that you've seen bass in the past, and then you see a certain size that you feel like, you feel like a good percentage of those could be bass. But no, I've seen, I've fished for schools of carp on Kentucky Lake before. You just can't. And then the reason why I feel like they're carp is because I fished for them and I didn't catch them.
And you get a scale comes back.
Bass usually bite, So no, especially stripers, man. They get on bait in that open water. Sometimes kind of like a largemouth, and sometimes largemouth are right mixed in there with them, especially whites and yellow bellies. And man, it just you can't tell.
So it's an educated guess then.
It's a hypothesis.
Right. Exactly. That's right.
Hey, we asked we had Brian Thrift on right before you, and we asked Brian, we asked him if there was ever a time during either one of these events, the Travis or the Guntersville, that he thought he had won the tournament. Did you know before the weigh-in? I know this is kind of weird, but did you have a feeling that you had won either one of these events?
I had a feeling I had won Guntersville.
Okay.
And that was and I didn't know what Brian had. All I knew was that I felt a peace and a calmness that I could have been, and I was okay with either one of them, finishing second. Just like Brian and I said backstage one day over there in Trav, we'll finish second in every one of them, and you're gonna make a lot of money. But I felt like I won Guntersville, and the only reason I felt like that is I just had an overwhelming peace come across me whenever I caught that big fish.
Awesome.
He could, if he'd had 23 pounds, just a little more than he had, he would have beat me, but I still would have felt like I'd won. For some 100% thought that Brian had won the tournament, and to be honest with you, I was okay with it. I really was. I was kind of overwhelmed. First of all, my fish weighed just a little bit. I thought I was being real conservative whenever I told people I feel like I had 13.5 pounds. And I knew that there was a chance I might could have 14, because there was one that I was calling 3 1/4 that I felt like he was probably just a hair better than that. Well, once I got a really good look at him, took him out of my bag, I really felt like he was like a 4-pounder. And
nice.
That one really, that fish really surprised me. And then I had one that was probably 4.6 instead of 4 pounds that I was calling for. So I was about a pound more than, and I try to stay within like a half a pound or so, and be real conservative. So I felt when I saw Brian catch that big one, and I'd already heard that he caught a big one at the end. I was like, man, this is just gonna be cool. I really thought it was gonna be really cool.
Absolutely.
I
Hey.
went on a last minute fish 2 weeks ago, and he wins on the last this time. And I just thought it was like neat TV.
Yeah, it sure is.
But Brian, Rob Newell had told me, Brian, well, Brian says he's got about 13.5 pounds. We all try to stay a little conservative. And evidently one of his marshals or something had told him that his fish was a little bigger than what he thought or something like that, because he ended up having right at 13 pounds. So, and that's what happens with a lot of marshals sometimes. They big eye some of those fish, and it kind of skews what us fishermen, we kind of know what we got. And even Brian said back there, he said, I really ain't got that, and got that much. He was saying that right there at the end, and you feel like he's still being a little too conservative, and you just never really know.
He might have been sandbagging you. You never know. You never know what's happening.
I don't think it's not really sandbagging. It's just, fishermen always try to stay just under what they got. And he said he was, he felt like he didn't have, but I just thought that can't be right. I just was kind of, it can't happen. I can't really win this tournament, is what I was thinking.
Hey, ultimately it worked out, and you know what's really cool, Mark? That you won $250,000 in the month of February fishing. That's really cool.
That's crazy, man. I don't really do it.
Nice little winner.
Do it for the money. I just try to, do the best I can.
I know you do.
Whenever you do get thinking about the money, you're just like, wow, 3 weeks.
I mean, I know you do it because you love it, but you got to admit, $250,000 bass fishing only can happen in this great country we live in. There's no doubt.
Man.
There's no doubt.
What a blessing to live in a country like that.
Absolutely, it is. It's outstanding that you make money chasing these little green fish. We love bass fishing just like you do, and it's only right here.
I'd do it. I would do it if we were fishing for a pack of crackers,
Yeah. It's the purest form of the sport. It's the purest form.
Yeah.
It is right there. Hey, tell me what this statement means to you, okay? To catch the owl, you must watch the mouse. What do you think that means? To catch the owl, you must watch the mouse.
Well, I would think it would mean you got to, a lot of times, become the prey.
Yeah.
You got to, when I'm fishing a crankbait, I want to make that crankbait act like a crawfish or a bluegill or whatever. If I'm fishing a frog around lily pads, I want that, whenever a frog isn't just going to stop out there in between two pads and just sit there for a long time, because he knows he better watch out. And so he's going to skirt real quick to the next lily pad, So, yeah, you got to really pay attention to the prey, and it'll help you. It'll help you get what's after it.
So what you're saying is you got to be the ball.
Yeah, become one with the ball.
That's right.
Hey, are you a tackle geek like I am, Mark?
Somewhat. I used to be really bad, and the older I get, the more I really tinker with a lot of offshore stuff. I have Old Faithfuls. That's are pretty simple, for me. But in regard to offshore stuff, I tinker with a lot of stuff. I try to find that next, Alabama rig or whatever.
Sure.
Usually, if you can go to a lake, especially offshore, if you can, present something that they haven't ever seen before, it really it really can pay off for you.
Yeah, big time, especially since there's so many people offshore now. You know, it's
right.
It's not like it has been. And on offshore fishing, I mean, you know, realistically, sometimes you got to have, 12 rod and reel combos rigged up these days. All different types and variations of different baits. It's not like it was before. You got a football jig, you got a deep diving crank, you got a big worm, you got a spoon. It's a bunch of different stuff, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, whenever it comes to offshore, it used to be we had big worm and football jig and crankbait, and now I got 6 crankbaits, 3 spoons, 4 swim baits. I got a hair jig.
It's a wide variety platter. Hey, let's say that there's a new FLW rule, and you're only allowed to have 4 rods with you to go fishing. Okay, so you got 3 on deck, 1 in hand. What are those 3 rod and reel combos going to be that you're going fishing with? I like to ask you guys this.
Well, I'm gonna have a shaky head on, just like I'm gonna have a survival kit in my boat. That's what I look like. That's what I compare a shaky head to. I'm gonna have a jig of some sort, one that I could swim, pitch, skip, do all that. I've got to have some type of top water bait on. Probably a Strike King Sexy Dog. You said I can have 4?
Yeah, you got one more coming.
I got one more coming.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to leave that one. Hang on. I'm probably going to leave, when I blast off, I'm going to leave that one, done it, and I'm just going to let it.
That's the wild card.
And that one for just anything.
So it's the versatile stick.
It's the versatile one.
Gotcha. Now, what are these rods? Tell us, be specific about the rods and reels. That's what I want to know. What are you throwing?
Yeah, I'm throwing I've been with Lew's for a good while with reels, and now just had the opportunity to be with them with rods, and man, I'm really excited. My first tournaments that I fished, I won. Didn't do real well in that one, but these last 2, I really utilized lead fishing line. I'm using the Lew's Custom, and inside that Lew's Custom is a lead lineup. And I spent a lot of time with Bob Brown, who is there.
Hey, I don't know.
Hey, Mark, you're cutting out on us. Are you in the basement?
Can you hear us, Mark? Uh-oh, we're losing Mark Rose.
Let's try him back.
Uh-oh.
There you are.
Hear me?
We got you back. There you are. We lost you for a minute.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
I'm
Tell us
driving
about those ledge rods.
On my way home from church, and I've had some distractions, so sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Tell us about those ledge rods, because you cut out right when you were telling us the story.
Yeah, there were some gaps in there that I was needing in the rod lineup that Lew's had, and so I said, well, I really need a few more actions, and they said, well, great, well, let's work and let's make a signature action out of it. I said, what do you want to call it? I said, well, these are some actions I need for ledge fishing, so they decided to call it the ledge lineup, and we made a swim bait rod, made a for like 3/4 and 1 ounce open water paddle tail swim baits, which are very popular offshore, and then we got a 7.2 heavy that I just absolutely love for big worm, football jig, all of that kind of stuff. Carolina rig or whatever you want to set the hook on a piece of plastic, out there deep or a jig. And then we got 3 crankbait rods, a small, big, and magnum. And for comparison, Think of it as a 1.5 or Series 3, and then a 5XD, 6XD, and then a 10XD, which is kind of an animal all to itself.
Sure.
And then they put a 9-foot crankbait rod in there, which is the big, so to speak, the 6XD rod. But that wasn't one. That they just threw that in there in case this new big long rod craze took over, and I'm not really throwing it. I'm not. I'm thinking of weight, and I don't want a big cumbersome setup. But
that'll wear you out.
They got it in case anybody that wants it, it's there. And then we got a spinning, which is all around spinning. Really, it's for an eco rig, big shaky head, any of that type of stuff. Drop shot. It's really for 8 to 12 pound fluorocarbon. Got a good backbone, but yet it's got enough tip to where you can throw like a quarter to a half ounce type setup.
And again,
really quarter 3/8.
They're called the Ledge Series by Lew's. It's the Mark Rose Ledge Series.
Yes. Well, it's the Lew's Custom Pro.
Okay.
Which is it's their top of the line rod. And then inside the Custom Pro is the Ledge lineup, and you can't miss them because mine has solid handles. It's a cool solid handle. It's a cork right there that you're gripping just like the regular ones, but then to a solid EVA right below where you grip it. And
nice.
I compare that kind of like let's say you're sledgehammering or hammering, and you're putting a roof on your house. So you want to grab a little Mickey Mouse skinny, slender hammer, or do you want to grab some meat? And that's the way I just like that solid handle. When I reach back there with my other hand and I make a cast, I want to grab some meat. And when I say meat, it doesn't have a big axe handle on it or anything.
It's the tool for the job.
It's just a smooth, contoured, solid handle that doesn't add any more weight. It's just a really nice rod.
Nice. Hey, we I don't know if you know anything about this show, Mark, but we're actually a bunch of goofballs, and we're being very reserved today. We're a bunch of knuckleheads, but we do like to play games on this show, and I want to play a new game with you called Bass Fact or Fiction. Okay, this is Bass and Fact or Fiction. Are you ready to play?
Bass, fact, or fishing?
No, bass, fact, or fiction. Fact or fiction.
Oh, bass, fact, or fiction. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw some things at you, and you tell me if this is basically fact or if this is fiction. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's play. Hey, this is Bass, Fact, or Fiction with FLW Tour Pro Mark Rose. I'm your host, Pat Renwick. Here we go. The first one. A largemouth bass protects its eyes with specially developed lids that protect him during feeding. Is this fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Fiction? That is absolutely fiction. Bass don't
That's
even
a
have
great white
eyelids.
shark.
They don't even have eyelids. That's a shark. You're right, Ryan Whitaker. That is a shark. Bass have 6 senses, unlike humans. They have sight.
Bass have what?
Have 6 senses. 6 senses, unlike humans who only have 5. So bass have sight, taste, hearing, smell, feel, and they also have overdeveloped cheek muscles, which help them find prey in low light areas. Fact or fiction?
I'd say fact on the jawbone deal, or the cheek area, but I would say fiction on the 6 senses.
Okay, it is actually a fact. They do have the 6 senses. There's the sight, the taste, the hearing, the smell, and the feel, and the 6th sense is the lateral line. The old lateral line of the black bass.
Yeah.
It's making sense now, right?
Yeah.
It's making sense. See, we're educating.
Well, I was thinking they only had 2. I was thinking they had their lateral line, and then they had their sense of taste and all that. I wasn't thinking about their 6. There's 5 or 4 more.
We're educating. We're playing bass scientists right now, Mark. That's how we're doing.
Yeah, I'm learning, man. I'm learning.
During the spawn, the male bass bumps the female bass to establish dominance. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Okay, we're stumping Mark Rose. That is actually fiction.
Well, he
I would have
to
said fact.
loosen up them, yeah, okay, I got you.
It's to loosen the eggs. You knew it. You knew what that was.
Yep.
You knew what it was. Water temperature is more critical to bass than the moon phase is during spawning.
Fiction.
Okay. We're going with that. We're going to give them. That's a toss-up. That's a toss-up.
That's a 50-50.
That's a toss-up. Last question. The world record bass was caught in 1934 by George W. Scott and weighed 22 pounds, 4 ounces. George W. Scott caught the world record bass.
Well, I didn't know if this guy in Japan's fish was legal or not here a couple years ago, but I'm going to say fact.
Okay, fact. We're going to give it to
The Japan one was a tie.
It was a tie. So
because it was only 1 ounce over.
We're
It's
going
gotta
with
be 2
George
ounces
W.
to beat it.
Scott for the winner. Hey, Mark, the producers tell me we are right up against the clock. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come hang out with us and educate us on bass fishing and what it's like to be a history-making FLW Tour pro, man. Thank you so much, Mark.
I appreciate it, guys. It's always a pleasure. Call anytime.
Excellent, man. And good luck to you at the Harris Chain. I hope that momentum continues for you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, take it easy. There's Mark Rose, history-making FLW Tour Pro. Yes, that's a first. That's a history maker right here on Straight Cast. Hey, we are right up against the clock. We're cutting it close. I've been talking too much. We thank you so much for your viewership, because without you, we are nothing. Remember, we are off next week. We are off, what is that, March 1st? But we return March 8th. Remember, though, next Wednesday night, a very special edition of Ike Live. Catch that on IkeLive.com. That's the Brian the Carpenter Show right there.
And a reminder, I gave the wrong website.
Of course you did.
It is March 4th in Hammond, Indiana. Go to CaptainSteiger.com for all the information for that Learn Lake Michigan seminar.
CaptainSteiger.com for the Lake Michigan seminar. Until then,
it's going to be donuts.
We bid you peace, Bass Fishing Nation. See you March 8th.
Fish it out.